Hey, gang, welcome to Ross and Nez. Can you believe, Nez, we are up to episode 5? And no, we're not going to do one of those goofy anniversary things like ESPN used to do in the day, like, hey, we're at episode 2. Let's share the memories of our best stuff.
What are you talking? I hired a clown. What are you talking about? I hired a
clown.
clown. I got balloons. I've got bear claws.
A creepy
What's wrong with
clown
you?
or like a respectable clown that you would have to like the kid's birthday party or something?
No. The creepy clowns are the only way to go, brother. A respectable clown. That's an oxymoron. I've never seen
Yeah,
it.
there's no such thing.
How are you, man?
I'm good. I'm good. It seems like it's been a while since we talked. We had that Thanksgiving holiday thing, and then I was doing that predictions blog post. So there's a ton of stuff going on. All around, all these apps and social networks are like doing updates this week. It's been crazy. I mean, didn't they have like a Thanksgiving break, or they just been plotting to do all this stuff? But before we get to that stuff, why are you on mobile tonight?
I knew you were going to go there. You just couldn't resist, could you?
After I set up the substantive topic, and then why are you on mobile?
As soon as you get a chance to take shots, what do you do? I can't believe it.
I'm just curious.
Can I even see who the hell's on this show, or I can't see anything? Can I? I'm on. Okay, so I'll tell you that you want to know the story.
Can you see me or no?
I can see you, but I wonder why I can't see. Okay, I can't see. Are there comments? Are there people? Okay, I see viewers. Okay, never mind. All right, now.
Yeah.
Okay, now I can see it. Okay, I'll tell you the story. You want to know the story?
Sure. Tell us.
Does it really matter?
No, I just, it was an opportunity to bust on you. I don't really care what the story.
Okay, I see Fernando. Okay, cool.
Hey.
Good to see you, Fernando. So I was under the impression that we're living in 2017. And when you ask for an update, when Apple actually asks you for an update and says, hey, you really need this, and you read all this stuff online, if you don't get this update, it's going to be really bad boogie. I figure, okay, if I've got an hour and 15 to do a show, that's plenty of time to do an update, right? And me, like the Momo that I am, I went ahead and clicked on, yeah, let's do this, right? And, here's Ross saying, okay, we got a guest here. We got Roberto coming in. We've got this. And I look at the clock. It's 15 minutes to go. But my Apple computer says you got another 45 minutes. So I'm in panic mode. I mean, nobody saw this pre-live. But Ross is laughing his head off because Professor Nez is in panic mode because I got to go live on mobile, and I don't even know where I am. Right, I could be in Uruguay for all I know, and I don't even know if Ross is streaming this to Venezuela. I could have no clue.
So, I mean, were you going to like a whole different operating system, or why would it take like 3 hours to update a couple of programs with Apple or whatever?
It wasn't even like it was a new iOS update on the MacBook.
Are those big?
And I don't know. Well,
I usually just roll. I roll with whatever they installed in the computer 2 years ago.
Yeah, I know, right? You're just like, hey, you need this. Hey, schmuck, you need.
You want to
update
it now? No, I came to the computer because I got work to do. I don't want to wait for you.
I mean, I thought it was going to be pretty seamless and pretty smooth, and it wasn't going to be such a big deal. It was just an update. Next thing I know, what the tragedy of it is that you got that bar, where it's installing.
Right.
And it literally didn't move. It just said it was like a bad Michael Myers movie. It was like 44 minutes to go, and then 20 minutes passed, and it was like 44 minutes to go. I'm like, what's going on here? So anyway, this is my bad. But you know what? Being the consummate professionals that we are, we're going to make it work, and we're going to make it happen. So I apologize if the audio's not that good, if the visual's never that good, but.
Actually, it's better. It's better this way.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you walked so slowly into that even my late night slower mind here now it's like he's telegraphing it. He's laying it over the plate. I got to swing at that, right? Let's say a quick hello. The great Coach Jenny is here. Kevin Black is here. Of course, Fernando is here. As you said hello to him earlier. So thank you all so much for joining us. Please do share this out. Let people know that we are on live. The great Roberto Blake is going to be joining us as we talk about YouTube adding stories. And, you know, the timing is kind of funny with your update, because I heard somebody tell me, and I don't know if this is true or not true, but like when Apple does a big iOS update, like they go from 10 to 11 or whatever, apparently if you have an older phone, like I have a 7, not the 8 or the X or whatever, if
Yeah.
if you update, that like Apple kind of like slows down your battery life or, you know, whatever, like, so you don't want to update it to the latest so I've been trying for like days, weeks, whenever that iOS update, I've been good about not updating it, right? And they
Yeah.
kind of try and force you to, and you have to put in the code and like, yeah, it'll be plugged in between 2 and 4 in the morning, and then you make sure you never have it plugged in. Well, last night I was up late, and so I wanted to use my phone, so I plugged it into power. I had no power, and next thing I know, I've got the new iOS 11 update. And you know what? I don't know about battery life, but it sure gets Wi-Fi better, because for whatever reason, my iOS 10, I couldn't get Wi-Fi like when I was in the opposite side of the house, which is ridiculous, right?
You're the perfect subject for these kinds of ploys.
Yes,
we're the perfect numbskulls for this type of trick. And it's like what they're doing is obviously forcing you to get the new update, right? The new device. Because you can't I was forced. I had a 6S about, 5 days ago. I had to update to the 8 Plus because, and I'm a lot happier with the 8 Plus, but I did the darn update. Next thing I know, I shoot a 10-second story on Instagram, and my phone shuts down. It's like a Manhattan Project malfunction. Nothing works, and all my emails are gone, and there's witches brewing on my iPhone home page or whatever. It was a disaster. So yeah, it's. I love Apple, but I also have some qualms, a few qualms.
Yeah, but now you're trapped in their ecosystem, and if you like try and sneak out,
it's like the mafia. It's like the mafia. Once you're in. I mean, I was a happy Windows boy before I met my wife, and then my wife got me into Apple. And granted, there's a lot of great, beautiful, benefits to being on Apple, but then.
Right.
Like it's like you once you're in, you can't get out because all your devices are talking to each other. They know where you live, they know where you sleep, they know where you eat. It's like they know where you work. You can't do anything. So it's once you're in, you're done, you're finished, toast.
Well, I got to say, I get better Wi-Fi now, so I can't complain, right? I mean, I tried so hard not to do this update, and it actually, for now, is working better for me, so I'll take it, right? So welcome, Kim Doyle's here. The great Owen Video is here. Carlos.
Nice.
Great to see everybody. Thanks so much.
Love this crew.
For joining us. We have Roberto Blake coming up about 7 or 8 minutes from now as we get into the big, I think this is of all the updates, right? And there have been like a ton of updates this week.
Woo!
I think YouTube going stories is the biggest one, and certainly not one I heard anybody talking about.
This one was like, wow. I mean, when it first happened to Instagram, you were like, okay, right? Okay. Then it was like, okay, Messenger Day. Okay. Then it was like Facebook story. Okay. Now it's Facebook pages have stories. I mean, it's like, I'm going to go to the mailbox and I'm going to be able to click on a story. When is it going to stop? It's pretty much my DVR is going to have a story. Netflix is going to have stories next. Mm-hmm. But this is really interesting. I can't wait to see what Roberto thinks. And I know there's some great video creators, in the chat right now. YouTube, wow. I mean, with what YouTube's been doing, you and I both, Ross, we're live stream, aficionados and just completely advocates of live streaming. Been doing this for quite a while. YouTube's upped their game in live streaming, which has been a predominantly pre-recorded, platform for just pre-edited videos. And they've taken their live streaming game. I think Super Chats, I think Facebook, I think Twitter, I think Periscope should adopt the Super Chats model. And now that YouTube is the place to be, man. I mean, I'm really impressed. I'm really interested to see what Roberto says.
Yeah, I am too. And I got, and I know Coach Jenny's in the comments knows as well that I somehow had a really bad like allergic reaction to Snapchat and just could never get into it and didn't want to create stories, found it difficult to watch them on Snapchat. Then when Instagram added them, because Instagram was a platform that I needed to be on every day anyway, I was more okay with it for some reason, the way Instagram fed them to me. But I've still never been big on stories. I use them. I think they're great. Like if I go to an event and throughout the day want to share little things, but I just don't really want to, sit around thinking of like, how do I create a story today or whatever? I don't know. I probably
take
shouldn't.
a Benadryl. Will you take a Benadryl and relax?
Just go to sleep. Yeah, just forget it.
Allergic reaction.
But seriously though, this is a whole different story because we just started a new YouTube channel, and that's a perfect opportunity, of course, to tell people to go to rossandnez.com/YouTube and subscribe to our new YouTube channel, where we have all of our past shows, and we'll also be doing some micro content and short form videos and interviews and things as well, in addition to the shows that we share there. There was a point to this that wasn't to plug that. Where was I going with this?
God only knows.
So I don't know. What I'm interested in finding out is, and could stories, first of all, I don't even know what the requirement is to get the stories option and what the rollout is going to be, right? Like, will people like us get it in 5 years or never? Or, do we have to get to 50,000 followers or something, subscribers? But it could be an opportunity to make YouTube a lot more social, and for smaller channels, if they're given that opportunity, to actually be able to ramp up their subscribers and their views and get people interested in their longer form content.
Well, let me tell you something, Ross. I do surveys in I don't know any other writing professor on the planet that does this. But I do these surveys in my classes, and I've done a couple of Facebook Lives where I've literally just surveyed my audience. And my audience, the demographic is usually between 18 to I get a few people post 25, maybe 1 or 2 30-year-olds in there. But generally the demographic is 18 to 24, 25. And I do polls, what are the social media platforms you're using and why? And predominantly they're still on Snapchat, definitely on Instagram. You don't hear a lot of people say YouTube.
Right.
So, and the stories feature is one of those beautiful, that instant messaging, video messaging. It's very quick. It's more colorful. It's more engaging. It's more immersive. YouTube's smart. These are smart people. I mean, I think this opens the door up, like you said, to really amplify and capitalize, capital S, social. They understand the power of this way of communicating in this format and feature. And I think it's a smart move. I don't know what the rollout's going to be. Maybe Roberto has some great knowledge on this. But I definitely think it's probably, I don't have it yet. I mean, I checked as soon. This is brand spanking new, folks. I mean, literally, this is the latest. That's what you get with Ross and Nez.
So
you get the latest.
Let me share. You do. You absolutely do. And let me share. Thank you, Coach Jenny.
But let me just say really quickly. So most of the students are not on YouTube. They're mostly predominantly on Snapchat and Instagram. Maybe, just to wrap up, this is YouTube's attempt at getting in on that action.
Right. So Coach Jenny just shared from I think it was from TechCrunch, the launch of the Reels beta. It's going to be called
That
Reels.
makes sense.
Was mentioned briefly in an announcement today about the expansion of YouTube Community tab to all creators with over 10,000 subscribers.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, so then I can just ditch that idea that this could be a way for us to quickly build our channel. We're gonna have to do it the old-fashioned way with good content.
Hey, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah. So that was.
Hey, folks. We'll see you. We'll see you in 2028, folks.
Yeah. So let's bring in Roberto Blake, an awesome YouTuber. I don't know, 300,000 subscribers, 275,000 subscribers, a powerful channel, tutorials, and great stuff. Welcome, Roberto. Thanks so much for joining us on Ross and Nez.
Yeah, I've got Ross and the Professor. How's it going, guys?
Good.
Woo!
Great
What
to
up,
see
Roberto?
you, my friend.
Yeah, I didn't get to spend nearly enough time with you guys when we were at Vid Summit, so apologies there. I got swamped. with everything between speaking and then just like people coming up to me every 2 minutes. But that's what it is. That's why I signed on for.
Right, right.
You
So
know,
let's.
I cried for about 5 minutes, but I got over it, Roberto. And I understand. I completely understand. It seemed like everybody. I mean, that was a hell of an event.
You
And
guys should have
it was
just like came to dinner. Like you guys should have just like get pulled into one of those dinners. It's like, and people kept paying for my dinners. You could have just gotten free food.
Really?
See, Ross, I told you, you're such a nincompoop, Ross.
Just
Why didn't you
follow
jump on that?
Roberto. Follow Roberto. And I was like, well, I don't see Roberto.
All right, so note to self, Vid Summit 2018, free dinners with Roberto. I love it.
Well,
So-
they have to have me back.
Yeah, definitely. So tell us,
that's a no-brainer.
what are your thoughts about YouTube stories? Are you reels, as they're called? Are you excited about this? Do you want to use it? Is it annoying?
No, I'm very excited about it, and I'm very excited about the potential of it. New features are always a new toy to me. I like that. I like talking about them. I like experimenting with ideas and strategies for the community. I've been very active. I've been told by a lot of my audience that out of all the people before they rolled out the community tab to everybody, they said that I'm one of their favorite creators for how I use the community tab and how engaged I am, because I keep doing polls and I share photos and I write interesting text about it and I ask them things. I ask my questions. I use the community tab like a community tab. A lot of YouTube creators, even the ones that I follow and watch, they just use it as another way to secondly distribute their existing content. I use it to share content from other creators and cross promote, and not just people I'm collabing with, but people I've collabed with in the past. Like my friend Amy Schmittauer did a video. You guys know Amy. She did a video about myths about personal branding, and I'm like, I talk about personal branding all the time. My audience needs to hear this, and here you go. And I gave it to them and shared it with them. I asked them what their thoughts were on it, and I polled them for things that they might be struggling with, or content ideas or things of that nature all the time. And I've also started using it a little bit to promote my new product, the YouTube starter kit that I have over at Awesome Creator Academy and things like that. But I don't overplay that or do anything heavy-handed. I really do use it for the community. It's called the community tab. So
Right.
I'm really excited about Reels. I could give you guys some tips on getting to 10,000. I mean, like I know that better than a lot of people. But
I'm like waving you in.
Bring
but
it on, Roberto. Bring it
I
on.
mean, for one thing, like, when are you guys asking for people to subscribe?
Aha. Yeah, Ross. When are you asking him, for crying out loud, Ross?
Nez, have you ever listened to the show?
Are you kidding me?
we just had this up.
So, like,
and I was
at
asking.
what point in the video are you asking for the subscription?
I guess not early enough, right? We should be asking right off the bat, or
Maybe
like
not off the bat, but
minutes
2
in.
minutes in. 2 minutes in, if you've established some value,
Mhm.
you ask for the subscribe, but you qualify what's in it for them, and it's not just hey, subscribe to the channel. You qualify them.
Right.
Primary example, one of my favorite entertainment channels that I watch is Emergency Awesome, Charlie Snyder. He does great commentary on like Flash and Arrow and the Marvel and DC shows and movies, and I love his stuff. But what he says is he'll tell you, hey guys, I usually cover Marvel and DC stuff on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bells in case you don't want to miss anything about the new Justice League. Like, he qualifies you to say, you want this is how you extract that value. So if you're a channel that does something very specific, primary example, Ross, you're like, hey, we're going to be talking about YouTube Reels today and the community tab and all the new features. Typically on the show, I cover new social media updates as they come out. So if you're in the social media marketing world and you want to stay up to date on when new features are being added to the platforms, when the platforms are making dramatic changes, then you'll definitely want to subscribe, and you'll want to hit the notification bell if you really don't want to miss anything. You're now qualifying the FOMO, the fear of missing out, for them and letting them make a decision. And because here's the thing, they shrink the subscribe button so much year after year after year that it's becoming practically invisible. And people just forget sometimes. They watch a good video and they're like, oh, that's a good video. They forget that they might not even remember that they're not subscribed. Maybe they've watched you 2 or 3 times, and in their head, they thought, did I subscribe? So I think it's fine to ask, as long as you're delivering some upfront value. You get them with a hook in the first 10 seconds. If they're still watching and they're 2 minutes in, it's worth going ahead and just going for the ask of the subscribe. And if you're qualifying it for them and letting them qualify themselves of, I'm this, so I want that. And so I would definitely, go that way. It's like, hey, if you want coupons, why don't you sign up for our membership card? It's like, I want 10% off. So
That's right.
it's
I
about
love
we
how
qualify ourselves.
Yeah, I love how Sean over at Think Media has been doing it, and I've seen Nick adopt it. I just love, Roberto, this group of creators is just phenomenal. Like you, Owen, Roberto, Sean. I mean, I just think it's such a killer group, and we had we saw each other briefly, but there were moments where we really got a chance to just see each other in the flesh and talk for a little bit, and it was just awesome. And what I love about this community is everybody's so supportive. What I was going to say about Sean is Sean does this really specific call to action where he says, you might, after he delivers his value proposition, he'll say, you might consider, or please consider subscribing. I always thought that was really cool. And now I've seen Nick sort of adopt that. Is that how do you specifically, do you have a specific verbatim, or do you change it every time, Roberto, or do you stick
At the
to it?
end of the videos I do, but I'm starting to incorporate the earlier ask myself. I haven't incorporated the earlier ask usually just because I haven't been prioritizing growth. I'll let you guys in on a secret that I rarely share publicly, just because I think that for people who want one of these and don't have it yet, it seems pretentious to say, and I'm using this as a prop just to demonstrate the point that I'm making, is, guys, I have never for a 30 or 90-day cycle prioritized the growth of my YouTube channel the entire 4 years that I've taken YouTube seriously at all. And the reason I say that is because I focused on how I use it as a marketing platform. I focused on using it for my personal brand. I focused on purposely hurting my YouTube channel to run experiments so that I can be more educated about the algorithm than most people, and not using a secondary channel for that. I've been doing it on the main
That's
one.
great. That's great.
That's why I learned. That's
Yeah.
how I learned what I know about the platform. Is it's not an accident doing 1,000 videos. And guess what? Every single time I experimented in some minor granular way that makes sense to me that the audience may not even see. So when I say I haven't been trying to grow my YouTube channel, what I mean by that is, yes, I'm trying to grow it in the sense that I do content, I'm frequently uploading, I'm consistent, I brand it, I put a lot of effort into the production and the thumbnails. What I'm getting at is, in terms of saying this works, keep doing it, and doing that for a 30 or 90-day cycle, which is the answer, and prioritizing doing the type of content that I know has historically performed the best on the channel for 30 to 90 days in a row, which is the secret to success. I have not done that once in 4 years. I have not concentrated on repeating a pattern or formula of success that I've identified in my analytics, and that will ultimately grow a channel exponentially. I've not done that because as an educator, I have to go a different route than what I know works, because I have to find the other variables that don't work and what will change. Also, from a mission standpoint, I have a mission that's outside of YouTube, that repeating the duplicates of my success will not serve the needs of the audience. And so I need to serve the underserved portions of my audience, the people that only the 1,000 out of those 275,000 people, there might be 1,000 people who only need a very specific help or tip or thing, like the people who need the Adobe Audition audio processing tutorials to make their audio better. That might be the only people in my audience that are doing podcast or that care about their audio when they're doing video editing, or the ones that can afford to have the Adobe Creative Cloud per se. So
Right.
that, like,
I love your Adobe tutorials are killer. I watch those with my wife because we're doing some other online ventures, with the two of us, and just learning Adobe Cloud and all the different.
So I need to keep
facets.
making tutorials and things for you guys,
Yes.
even though
Yes.
sometimes
Yes.
it's content that historically over a period of time performs. It's some of those are in my top 10, but up front in the first 30 days, those lose for you because they're specialized, But
Yep.
I do that on purpose, and I know that the opposite of doing things that I know would get me the most traction, I don't do the things that, again, and I would recommend to anyone else, if their priority is growing their YouTube channel, if you identify anything in your YouTube channel that's been successful, You basically do that, and you do it consistently and as frequently as possible in a 30-day concentrated period, and then you evaluate and you do that, whatever worked for those 30 days, you do that over a 90-day period of time and watch your channel explode. I've never done that, which is why there's never been any. If you look at my historical analytics in Social Blade, you'll never see some dramatic spike in my channel other than like a few Apple product releases. There's never been a viral video. There's never been anything that's a huge, overwhelming, dramatic spike other than when I cover a major problem or glitch in YouTube or a big product release or something that is worldwide like news or something very topical. So other than that, it's just a line of consistent growth the entire time. It's just but that was predicated over the long game. Yeah. For anyone who wants to get from 0 to 10,000, you have to keep putting out content until something sticks and lands. Then you have to rinse and repeat variations of the thing that sticks and lands that resonated the most with your audience. You have to improve your on-camera presence, energy, and charisma because that will count for more than anything, including production values. Right. And then you still have to meet the minimum threshold of acceptable technical quality when it comes to your video production, your camera equipment, your audio, and those things. And you also understand the specific niche or demographic that you're in, because there are nuances of ways to do things that can't be standardized across the board, but then are specific to a certain audience or niche. There's a standard for beauty channels that doesn't apply to tech channels. There's a standard for tech channels that doesn't apply. There's a standard for commentary channels. There's a standard for comedy channels. There's a specific thing that are the best practices for your niche versus YouTube broad. And it's great that you learn YouTube broad best practices, but then you have to learn best practices for your niche specifically. And then you have to get into best practices or a formula for a specific segment of that niche that might be what your core audience actually is, or what you want your core audience to be. So again,
do you think, Roberto, that the stories, how will stories complement that, 30-day consistency, understanding tagging, description, thumbnails, which I've become such a student of. I've been learning so much and trying my hardest to apply that. My channel, my personal channel, is growing steadily. I'm almost at 500 subs, which 3 months ago I was at 80 subs. So
That's
growing.
Good growth.
I'm growing like I think the quality of your content is huge. And by the way, Roberto, do you have stories right now? Because you're over 10,000.
No, I'm talking to who I need to talk to about trying to get into the beta, because I have a YouTube partner manager, which after 100K subscribers, sometimes at 50K subscribers, you get a YouTube partner manager that's your official contact that's responsible trying to help you bring out the potential of your channel. Sometimes they can help you with strategy. I scored almost perfect score in YouTube content strategy because the audience may not be familiar. I'm actually YouTube certified at this point with a certification in content strategy where I almost got a perfect score, content ownership, which means I understand certain things with copyright and things of that nature, and fair use.
Much deserved. Brother.
And also scored very high, not perfect, but very high in audience growth and development, which means it's not just about growing your audience, but knowing tactically how to engage. YouTube stories, aka Reels, will be, I think, essential, much in the fact that the community tab, because here's the secret to all social media platforms that no one's talking about right now. You guys have had plenty of guests on your podcast. You guys have interviewed rock stars. I got something I think no one else has been talking about, and I've been paying attention. Is everyone talking about literally hour-to-hour traffic on social media platforms and day-to-day activity on social media platforms, and not just from a post standpoint, but day-to-day user activity for your specific page or audience or your YouTube channel? Has anyone even brought that up, that the platforms are tracking hour-to-hour and day-to-day engagement?
No, I don't think so.
Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about it. You really want to get into these algorithms, the activity immediately after you do something, literally in the first hour, but I would even go so far as to say in the first minute, they see it.
Wow.
It's not an accident. You think Gary Vee doing 60-second club is an accident? You think that him hacking attention and telling everyone to get on notification squads is an accident? Notification squad is the hack and the variable of a secret that you could use to leverage. I need to do a video dedicated about this for YouTube.
Yes.
Like
yes.
notification squads will grow your content exponentially. Carlos Phoenix, you're saying you talk to your clients about it. Carlos, you're doing the right thing. And it's an old school tactic because you should, if you ever did websites, and remember website SEO and Google Analytics and then real-time Google Analytics, everyone should know that hour-to-hour matters. Hour-to-hour
Yeah.
traffic matters.
Yeah.
So I have strategies that I deploy to not only have traffic, because everyone does, oh, when my video goes out and they think about the first 24 hours and then it's dead to them and then they don't think about anything else. I think about the entire volume of the entire inventory of every single one of my platforms, and I think about hour-to-hour engagement. Every single hour of every single day, what is my traffic at? What, like, am I getting 5 people at midnight or am I getting 50? I think about this and I prioritize and I strategize around this, and I want people to pay attention to it because it really matters. It's not an accident that I use Buffer as an app, that I have tweets in a 24-hour cycle and that they're distributing content, and that I also am using it to obtain information by having questions post sometimes too, so that I can aggregate information and engage with people, not only just across time zones, but again, to increase hour-to-hour engagement on my platforms, and also so that I have an aggregate of information and interaction so that later I can respond to in real time as a human off of that automation and go more interaction and more engagement as a follow-up cycle. Because again, it's like sending an email. Do you need to be there the minute you sent the email? No. Do you read the email the minute it comes in? No. But there's a response and a follow-up. So following that pattern, setting things in place so that people can engage with you, and then later you can go back, follow up, and trigger new engagement is important. The reason the YouTube community tab is essentially valuable is because you have another way besides when you upload a video to trigger people interacting with your YouTube channel and starting a YouTube session that gives your channel authority for session starts, and you might be able to funnel them into more content just because they prioritize you top of mind because you're interacting with them more than anyone else. It's the same when I was an early YouTuber.
Nobody's doing it. Nobody's doing I mean, Roberto, I'm subscribed to your channel and many other people. When I see you put in the effort to actually, poll your audience, to actually inquire, probe, investigate, offer some assistance, ask a very sincere question like, what can I do to help? I don't see anybody else using it.
Have you ever seen me do a video where I respond to any less than 30 comments?
No, I haven't. I don't think so.
Not once.
No.
Right.
Nope.
Hey,
Ross.
Roberto, our audience is largely live streamers here on Facebook Live, and a lot of people who listen to the podcast and watch on YouTube are into live streaming as well. And in the predictions article that Livestream Universe did,
yes,
you mentioned that most areas, most genres, most segments really don't have anybody who's doing a lot with live streaming, right? There's only a few niches where live streaming is big on YouTube. What is your advice for people who, again, want to grow their channel and want to make an impression on YouTube? Can they do that by going live, even if they have a very small channel, even if they have a new channel?
They can, but you need 100 subscribers to do YouTube Live.
Okay.
Which means you still have to have recorded content. The problem with YouTube for the live streaming community, and it's not a problem in my opinion, it's a pivot, it's a mental problem, is that live streamers often are live only, and anything else that's not live is overwhelming to them and it's dead to them. And they need to, like, my frank answer is you need to get over it because you have to leverage both. And my problem with people with recorded video is they don't like taking the risk of live because they feel they need their polished, edited content and it's become too much their baby. And they need to get over it too, but they have less detriment to them because of the nature of search, and search being the thing that Facebook can't get right, and search is intent. Their culture is the news feed. Even if they decide to build a search engine as robust as Google on the back end, here's their problem. It's too effing late because they've already made a culture. They've already made a culture that ignores the value of search beyond, I just need to get to my friend real quick or whatever. They've made it The beauty of Facebook is the community that it has and the culture that it has. And the problem is, I think that they will lose. I think they will lose if they try to play Google's game. I think everyone who tries to play Google's game, and everyone wants there to be a competitor to YouTube and a competitor to Google and everything like that. And what I'm saying is, so you want people to flush billions of dollars down the effing toilet because you don't like the concept of a monopoly. And I'm like, you do that then, and you burn your money. You literally, because you can burn your money. Because the thing is, it'll never. I'm sorry, I love capitalism. I love competition. But here's the thing: it's. By the way, it's over. Google and YouTube won. Get over it. Do your own thing. Win. I'm not even playing around with this, guys. I'm like, it sounds like I'm being facetious. I'm being a hype man, but I'm being dead serious. If someone is literally the conditions, they have over 10 years on YouTube of legacy. Yeah. We're bordering on 20 years of Google of legacy. Bing is garbage. Yahoo is practically a joke, and I'm surprised they haven't been bought yet. And that's coming, It's coming. I mean, it's coming. It's like it's a joke. It's a joke because
what do you think of
so well? Once you do it so well, it like there's a point where there's a minimum, there's a window of opportunity for competition, but once you've won and you've held the title. And you're not getting old, you're not getting gray, you're not getting hunchback. When you've not only won the title, but you've been invited onto Mount Olympus, and you're now God. You're a god. You're an Olympic god. That's it. It's game over. It's game over.
You gotta like that visual, huh? Yeah. We're talking with Roberto Blake, YouTuber. You can find his channel at youtube.com/Roberto Blake. Here on Ross.
If net neutrality dies, it's really too late, by the way, to compete with anyone who's established.
No, it's impossible. Just give it up.
Hey, Roberto.
If we lose net neutrality, now if we keep net neutrality, there's still a window a little bit for meritocracy.
Right. What do you think of Facebook Watch? I mean, Facebook Watch is that too late too? You think, Roberto?
No, it's a different thing. It's a different thing, and it's a different culture. It's a different thing and it's a different culture, but I also don't entirely trust Facebook on their numbers. I just don't.
Oh, that's been proven too. That's been proven. Yeah.
Yeah.
Their numbers are totally inflated.
Yeah, Carlos Phoenix asks, so you don't think that the millennial audience or newer may want different methods of content appreciation?
They might, but it won't matter because here's the problem. Millennials, when a brand is top of mind, when millennials or Gen Z, and in the way, and for nearly as long as YouTube has been a part of their staple, Snapchat's getting in there too and got their hooks in them, Instagram, then that's game over, right? In older millennials and Gen Xers, they live in Facebook. And do you know why? They live in Facebook because if you were a college kid like 10 years ago, Facebook was it. And now you're old enough and you are an adult and maybe you have kids. Your kids aren't into Facebook and they're into Snapchat and Instagram. Here's the pivot. The minute you turn 18 and you go to college, you are now an adopter of Facebook and that Facebook culture. The minute that you go into the job market, you are an adopter of LinkedIn and that culture because you've aged into those platforms. The thing with YouTube, for example, though, and Google's the default. It's in all the apps. It's in all the phones. So that's the thing there. Yeah. And then the other part of that is YouTube. These kids grew up watching YouTube the way that we grew up watching television.
Yeah.
They're YouTube stars that they crushed on and that they're in love with and that they're fans of and that they admire and they want to be YouTubers. If you ask anyone 8 to 18 what their dream job is, they want to be a YouTuber. That's the deal right now. I'm just letting this person call me know that I'm on an interview right now. So I can multitask. I can do two things at once. I'm fully capable of it, unlike people of my generations.
I think Roberto can do 10 things at once.
Yeah,
probably.
Roberto, we're gonna have to do a CT scan and see if Roberto's actually human. Roberto,
I'm pretty sure that if I donate my body to science when I go, because I want to be cremated anyway, I don't know, but I would want them to do testing because I'm pretty sure I'm a mutant. I'm pretty sure that I'm a mutant straight out of X-Men.
Roberto, I have so much respect for you, brother. I think I'm so impressed with. I mean, when I had you on my show too on Nez Nation Live, I just think that what you're doing. I think you should do an entire play. Here's my advice for you, Roberto. Take it or leave it. I think you should do a playlist of just. And I know you're doing vlogging and your thoughts. Just a playlist of rant after, because you get so passionate. There's not too many people who get as passionate about you, but who can back it up with the ingenuity and intelligence. So I think I just love it. I just want you to keep doing your thing. I think it's
My
awesome.
rants are the most probably
Watched?
some of the most watched, like one-off, as far as one-off content. That's not topical. My rants are the things that probably perform best and get the most engagement, besides other creative thoughts that have an emotional component or hook or a vulnerability
Yeah.
aspect to them. Like, people really recently, you probably saw the one that I like pointed out where like 99.9% of people lose because of this, or like that one got so much engagement and so many comments and so many people were touched by it. That was like definitely a big deal. The hour-long rant I did the other day, I didn't expect it to be an hour. I thought it was going to be 10 minutes. Like, I meant for it to be 10 minutes.
I told Roberto, hey, everybody watching and listening, and I told Ross this too. I actually predicted this because Roberto's a machine. Roberto's gonna laugh right now. I told Ross, I told Roberto 10 minutes. Watch, it's gonna turn into like an hour and 15 because this guy.
Oh, wow, you nailed it.
No, because Roberto, but it's beautiful because Roberto, like, once he gets going, it's like the juices get cooking. And like, he was like that. Okay, so the longest interview, I had Justin Brown did 2 parts. Mm-hmm. I had Owen, I had, Jenny Cute, but Roberto's was the longest out of 50 episodes. Roberto's was the longest, and I was loving every second of it. I think I did 4 parts. Roberto, do you remember this? You hold the record, Roberto. We even talked about Star Wars. It got so good. So I did a 4-part hour. I think it was 3 hours and 42 minutes total with Roberto. So I told Ross, I go, hey Ross, guess what? I told Roberto 10 minutes. But watch this. Watch what happens. I'll be willing to put money once Roberto gets going on a topic. It's in fuego time.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Roberto. This has been fantastic. For staying
I want to give you guys a little bit of an insight on the real
entire half an hour. YouTube.com/Roberto Blake 2 is his channel. Do check it out. Go ahead, Roberto.
I got to give you some quick tips on what's going to happen with Reels, because I gave you some stuff that it may help your channel and grow your channel to like 10K so you get more access to things, because like a lot of people think they have to get a silver play button, they have to get to 100 subscribers to really be part of the YouTube community. 10K puts you in the top 1% of YouTube. Nobody realizes that. There's 50 million active uploaders. Remember, my original conservative estimate was about 15 million to 6 million active uploaders. But Matt Gillen from Frederator, formerly from Frederator, now the CEO of Little Monster Media, he's the one who knows more about the algorithm than anybody out on the planet. Hand to God, he knows more than anybody except people who work at Google. Maybe more than some of them. He told me that there's 50 million active uploaders individually to YouTube. Wow. And so that means if you actually have 10,000 plus subscribers, based on conservative estimates, we can put you in the top 1% of creators, to be frank.
We're going to get there, Roberto. Ross Inez is going to get
there. At 10K. People don't realize that. They see the PewDiePies, the Markipliers, the Philip DeFrancos, the Liza Koshis, the Lily Singhs, the David Dobrik's of the world, and they think that's what being successful on YouTube looks like. They don't realize that that's like diamond elite status, and the margin and the funnel's so narrow. The people at that level, it's 600 people.
That's
and some of them are companies like the WWE. And then the gold play buttons are the gold play buttons. That's 6,000 people. And guess what? Those gold play buttons, those 6,000 people.
Is that million and
the
above,
million
right?
subscriber?
Yeah,
the million subscriber people. The million subscriber people. It's only 6,000 of them. And some of those are companies and brands, because the people like Ellen and Conan that got a diamond play button at 10 million still have gold play buttons at 1 million. So you have a lot of that. Right. Some of that is old YouTubers that are practically retired and done, and they're on to other things, or they're acting or in television now, or they spun off something or sold a business or whatever. So there's that. And then as for the silver play button category people, there's maybe about 60,000 of us, 70,000 of us right now. like 6 of those are Microsoft YouTube channels. Like
Wow.
3 of those are like Adobe YouTube channels. A lot of it is corporations that have big, tremendous brands that have been around forever. And then a lot of that is also repeats of YouTubers and old channels they had that they used to have, or spin-offs or vlogging channels. Some of it
Right.
is the little brother or sister of a YouTuber that like siphoned a little bit off of their brand or what have you. Some of it is a silver play button channel that's just a side venture of someone who's an established big YouTuber that their audience funneled down to. So to understand how small the room is, and then remembering that YouTube is global and worldwide, how many of those channels are non-English speaking channels? A lot of them.
Right.
Right.
A lot of the Brazilian YouTubers and the YouTubers in the Philippines, like what Nick Nimmin has been telling us about, they're blowing up. There are people who are literally YouTube celebrities in their part of the world. And you will never have heard of them because you're an English speaking YouTuber or you're in the Western world. So there's that. There's cultural enclaves of YouTube and so on and so forth. There are representative niches of YouTube that are very specific as well, that where there's no competition, that people aren't looking at because it doesn't have enough notoriety or mainstream fame or attention about it. And people are underestimating these things and they're missing opportunities. They're also getting discouraged way too easily because what they don't understand, and why I'm telling you guys and why I'm telling you this, is that all of the features you need, all of the features become available at 10,000 subscribers.
That's the target.
Now, to get into betas, you might have to be bigger, or you might have to be connected to get into betas. And sometimes they want anybody or random people into beta and so on and so forth. And sometimes they'll give it to you without you knowing it or applying, because they're trying to do sample and testing data. That's how I got into the community tab, even though it was still mostly big YouTubers and people like John and Hank Green and people of that nature, how I got the community tab. Now the community tab is available to everybody at 10,000. I don't think it'll ever roll out to lower, but because 10,000 might be what YouTube is considering having a community, so to speak. 10,000 is what YouTube calls their bronze level. That's not an accident. You get a silver play button at 100,000, you get a gold play button at 1 million, you get a diamond at 10 million. You don't get anything at bronze at 10,000, but you do have all the features, and they do give you access to the YouTube space, the YouTube studio for production if you want.
That's
to
really
higher
cool.
end.
I love that.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Take advantage of that.
So that is, aside from having a friend who can hook you up and walk you in, but
Roberto, is that a hint?
Time,
is that a hint, Roberto? We need to broadcast Ross and Nez from the YouTube studio. That'd be killer.
But there is classes and things available to creators who have 1,000 at the YouTube space. So at your local YouTube space, Ross, you're in New Jersey, you can go over to the Chelsea market, and you can go. They have stuff that might be open to all creators at all levels, but they also have stuff for people with 1,000. So then that's a goal too. And so that first 100 and then that first 1,000, they all matter. They're features that unlock at 1,000. At 1,000, you get super chat, and you can start earning money in a different way than just off of your watch time and off of your views from ads and the YouTube Red. So at 1,000, you get access to super chat. That means that you can take live streaming more aggressive because there's money to be had in direct donations from your community at that point. And so that could be another way to sustain you. So with Reels, what I think is when they do this, they could go one of a couple of directions. They might do it to where once it's out of beta, they might do an initial rollout to people at 10,000, but I think they'll give it to people later at 1,000. I think maybe even the community tab might do that too.
That's awesome.
All right, Ross.
Thank you, Roberto. It's amazing. Thank you so much for all the time.
You rock, Roberto.
Thank you, guys.
All right, have a good night.
Wow, that was a great 10-minute segment, wasn't it? I mean, nobody fills a 10-minute segment with Roberto Blake.
This guy, I'm telling you, if I had his wisdom and it's unbelievable. Like, he, to me, is like, he is above, he's not human. He can't be human.
So Roberto Blake, you got to follow him on YouTube, youtube.com/Roberto
the Wizard.
2. And when you head over there to follow Roberto, check us out as well. rossandnez.com/YouTube will get you to our channel. And we will be back soon with another episode of Ross and Nez. Have a great night, everybody.
Thank you.